Disclaimer: the stories shared on this channel are personal near-death experience and health.
My name is Sarah Llewellyn. I live in the UK, 38, and died in 15 minutes on March 14, 2021.
I was alone in my kitchen, the house breathing around me like a living thing. Rain ran down the window in silver fingers, and the streetlights threw blurry mirrors across the counter. My laptop was open to a spreadsheet I had not finished. A half-drunk mug steamed beside it. The phone on the table glowed with messages I had not opened. I stared at my reflection in the dark glass and could not recognize the woman who looked back at me, not fully. Work had given me a title and a tired smile. Daniel had given me a quiet house and a colder morning. The church had given me childhood hymns and the memory of a mother who always folded her hands just so. Those things lined up neatly in my life, like framed photographs on a mantelpiece. Step back, and the space between them was full of dust. I was typing when the memory of Rachel slipped in, that one betrayal that had never been forgiven. I remembered the way she had laughed in a corner, the business deal that became her advantage and my ruin. I told myself I was logical about it. I told myself time healed things. I told myself I had moved on. I had not. I had hidden the hurt under a dozen polite smiles and a glass after work. Pride lives in small places. Bitterness spreads from there. Daniel, I said into the phone when he finally answered, voice brittle. Where are you? You said you would be back by 7. Traffic, he said. There was a pause. Work overran, Sarah. I am fine. Do not worry. His words should have calmed me. They did not. I could hear the subway rumble faintly in the background, a London sound bleeding north into Essex. He sounded tired. I sounded tired. We both sounded like people cataloging duty. Earlier that week, I had seen Pastor Elaine at the church hall. She had stood with her hands folded and said things people say when they want to be kind, and also cut to the bone. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison, she said softly, looking me straight in the eyes. You do not think it affects you, but it eats you from the inside out. I had nodded then. I had nodded kindly and promised to pray. Prayer had become a ritual my fingers moved through, etiquette rather than lifeline. I had not told Pastor Elaine about the bottles hidden at the back of the cupboard, about how a glass of wine in the evening had become the hinge on which the day swung. I had not told her about the late nights in the office or about the ache in my chest that I blamed on stress. The ache came and went. It beat like a warning drum beneath my ribs. I pressed my fingers to my sternum and felt an uneven rhythm. I did not call anyone. I told myself I would sleep it off. I remember making a list in my head, the practical things that comfort the competent. Emails to answer. A proposal for Monday. Daniel's birthday next month. The list became a litany, a small god I kept feeding so I did not have to kneel at the real one. At midnight, the house felt too large. The clock on the oven ticked louder than it had any right to. The mug at my elbow had gone cold. I stood and walked to the sink, cold running over my hands. The kitchen light hummed. Outside, a delivery van passed and its radio flared for a second, then the street quieted again. I stood there with my palm over the sink, breathing, and I thought, I cannot keep doing this. I had been taught that the best honest prayers are short. So I whispered, Lord, I do not know if I am right here. If you are listening, show me. The words felt both desperate and casual, like someone making a grocery list in a storm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then my vision blurred in a way that had nothing to do with tired eyes. The lights on the ceiling elongated and smeared. A cold like river water slid under my feet. My hand flew to my chest. The heartbeat I had been ignoring began to stutter, as if someone had taken a finger to the speaker of my life. I sank into a chair without meaning to. The chair caught me as if it had been waiting. I breathed shallowly. The sound of the kettle in the corner boiled with a tiny, normal ring, and then drowned under a different noise, a distant, hollow thud, like a hammer in a churchyard. I tried to speak, and the sound that came was not mine. It was a thin thread of noise, drawn through something I could not name. Help, I mouthed. My lips moved. The house did not answer. I saw flashes, a memory of my mother folding her hands at the kitchen table when I was small, the scratch of her prayer notes. A laugh from a church picnic where everyone wore too much sun cream. Pastor Elaine's eyes on me, steady and kind. The images folded into one another in a way that made no sense, as if a film reel had been tangled. I felt very cold. Then a heat like a hand passed over my cheek. It was neither human nor mechanical. It felt like being read by someone who already knew every word. I tried to stand. The room tilted. The mug smashed on the floor, and the sound of china breaking was huge, sharp. And then it became muffled, like a bell underwater. My breathing became a procession of small, impatient breaths. The clock on the oven clicked, clicked, clicked. The last thing I registered before the world slowed was a flicker of my own reflection in the window, and in that reflection my mouth was open in a way that tasted like surrender. Daniel burst in a few minutes later, breathless from the drive, keys still in his hand, his voice cracking. Sarah, are you all right? He was at the door, and then at my side, and then he was on the phone barking into it. East Ambulance Unit 14, he said later, but in that moment his hands were the only certainty. I remember Daniel's face as if it had been carved into the night, pale, horrified, the inside of his cheek wet. He called someone and used words I half heard, faint, unresponsive, do not breathe. The light above us buzzed. Rain hit the window like 1,000 small nails. Hands lifted me, and for a breathless second I felt the pressure of palms, the quick, efficient movements of strangers who carried calm like armor. There were sharp voices, names, instructions, then a rush of air that smelled of antiseptic and petrol and hospital floors. I felt the world leave me in stages. First a thin gray thread unspooled from my hands, then from my feet. I did not feel afraid. Fear was a texture I had worn for years. It was familiar. What surprised me was how ordinary everything else looked. The curve of Daniel's jaw, the way a paramedic's jacket clung at the shoulder, the soft glow of the kettle light across broken ceramics. It was as if my life had been put under glass. And yet there was a sound I had not known existed. It was not in the room with us. It was under the room, behind the bones of the house. It was a low humming at first, then a voice without words that threaded through the air like steam. Something called my name, not with letters, but with the memory of my name, the syllables I had not said in a long time to myself in prayer. It was not Daniel saying it. It was not the paramedics. Sarah, the sound seemed to say. It was both accusation and invitation. I tried to answer, to reach, to squeeze back into myself. My body felt like a room that had been emptied of heat. The next stretch of moments was a slide, the ordinary dissolving, the edges of things becoming soft. The light above me fell into a thin white point, and then it surrendered to a wide black. And then, my vision blurred, and my chest felt like it was leaving my body. My chest rose once, then it did not rise again. I heard shouting, but it grew thin, like voices drifting behind a long corridor. A paramedic said something about no pulse. Another said, starting compressions now. But their voices sounded far away, folded under thick cloth. Then the strangest thing happened. The pain stopped. Completely. As if someone had flipped a switch inside my body and everything that hurt simply ceased. There was a brief moment of weightlessness, not floating, not falling, something in between. I felt my legs loosen first, then my arms, then something in my chest snapped softly, like a string being cut. And I rose. Not dramatically. Not like a theater lift. More like a slow breath I did not take, taking me. I hovered inches above the paramedics. My hair did not move. My clothes did not rustle. I was simply untethered. Below me, my body lay slack on the kitchen floor, pale and still. A paramedic pressed hard on my chest, his hands moving with trained desperation. Daniel knelt beside him, gripping the edge of the counter so tightly that his knuckles were nearly blue. "Come on, Sarah, come on," he whispered. I tried to speak. My mouth did not move. My body did not react. But something in me screamed, "I am here. I am here." They could not hear me. The realization struck with cold clarity. I was not dreaming. I was not hallucinating. I was separate. And then the room changed. The sound of the paramedic's gloves brushing against my skin began to stretch, echoing long after his hands moved. The lights flickered, Not electrically, but spiritually, like something unseen was stepping into the room and the physical world struggled to hold its shape. A warmth brushed my back. I turned. Behind me, the kitchen ceiling dissolved like fog pulled apart by sunlight. An opening, not circular, not square, but shaped like presence itself, spread above me. Golden light spilled downward like thick honey, moving slowly, intentionally, as if aware of me. The light breathed. That was my first thought, that it breathed. Soft pulses, gentle waves of warmth. A glow that held memory and mercy and something I could only describe as home. I felt myself pulled upward, not by force, by recognition. I rose. The last image I saw of the physical world was Daniel leaning over my body, whispering, "Please, God, do not take her, please." His voice cracked in a way I had not heard in years. It split me open, but I was rising too fast to look back. The golden atmosphere wrapped around me like warm wind. Everything shimmered, not bright, not blinding, but alive. Colors I had never seen. Sounds that were not sounds at all, but impressions, emotions, understanding. Then a voice. Not loud, not small, not male or female. Just truth. Peace. Stay here. Rest. The words slipped into me so effortlessly that I felt them behind my eyes, under my ribs, in the deepest part of my being. For the first time in years, I felt safe. I felt held. Every fear, every bitterness, every wound in me softened. I breathed a breath I had not breathed since childhood. Warmth flooded me, rolling over my shoulders like sunlight on water. Below me, far, far below, the world grew dim. I could still see the kitchen, the paramedics, Daniel, but they were fading behind a veil of golden light. I turned toward the warmth fully. I wanted to step into it. I wanted to dissolve into it. I wanted never to return to the cold ache of earth. But as I moved toward the radiance, something flickered at the edge of my vision, like a shadow darting behind a curtain. I froze. The warmth trembled, just slightly, as if reacting to something I could not see. Again, the shadow. Quick, thin, almost human. A whisper slipped across the air, sharp and serpentine. Not yet. The light dimmed. The warmth receded half an inch. Then I felt it, a tug. Not violent, not painful, but unmistakable. Something pulling me backward, away from the golden expanse. I turned. Darkness bloomed behind me like ink dropped into water. The light above me still glowed, but something beneath me had opened wide, deep, endless, as if the floor of eternity had cracked. The whisper came again, but this time closer. Not here, not for you, not yet. The golden light tried to hold me, but the pull from below grew stronger, like a tide reversing. I reached for the light, but when I touched it, it pulled away, as if forbidden to intervene. My stomach dropped. Then the warmth disappeared. Completely. Darkness swallowed me. I fell. Not physically. Spiritually. Like dropping through layers of memory and regret. The air around me thickened. The golden glow shrank into a distant star above. And then I heard them. Screams. Not dramatic movie screams. Not human arguments. These were deep, animalistic, broken cries, the kind that come from people who no longer believe they can ever be forgiven. The darkness grew hot. Not warm. Hot. Not like fire from a match, but heat with intention. Heat that felt aware of me. Heat that pressed against my skin with a hunger. I saw shadows moving in the distance. Silhouettes writhing, shapes half-formed, as if caught between existence and erasure. A smell hit me, burning metal, rotting sulfur, old despair. I tried to push backward, away from the pit forming below me. But the pull only grew stronger. I realized then, this was not simply darkness. This was a place, a realm, a destination, a truth. A valley where mercy had been refused too many times. A prison carved by choices, not by God. And I was falling toward it. My heart, if I still had one, contracted with the deepest terror I had ever felt. Not the fear of dying, not the fear of pain, the fear of being known, fully, truthfully, without excuse. The darkness seemed to whisper my failures. Unforgiveness. Pride. Bitterness. Each word struck my spirit like a hammer. The shadows around me shifted, and I heard chains drag across unseen ground. I saw figures reaching upward, reaching toward me, their arms long, distorted by suffering. I screamed, "Lord, please, help me." My voice echoed, but the darkness swallowed it whole. A voice rose from below, deeper than thunder, ancient, mournful, mocking. "This is the path you carved." Heat surged upward, wrapping around my ankle like a living flame. I looked down. Something had grabbed me. A hand, blackened, cracked, scorched, formed from the darkness itself. Its fingers dug into my ankle, burning without flame, pulling me downward. "No," I cried. "No, no, no." The hand tightened. The pit beneath me roared like a furnace pulled open. Faces appeared, faces twisted in agony, faces I could not bear to look at. Not because of their deformity, but because some of them looked like people I once knew. People who had died years before me. A chorus of voices rose, pleading, warning, crying out in despair. "Do not come here. Turn back. Ask him." "Jesus," I screamed. "Jesus, please." For a moment, the briefest moment, everything went silent. The hand paused. The darkness recoiled. A small, thin beam of light pierced the air above me, not wide enough to save me, but sharp enough to cut the darkness. It fell across my face like a tear of heaven itself. And then, a voice. Not a sound, a presence. Clear, firm, sovereign, carrying the kind of authority that makes every atom stop trembling. It said my name, Sarah. When he said it, everything obeyed. Heat froze mid-flame. Screams halted mid-cry. Even the clawed hand gripping my ankle became still, as if creation itself remembered its creator. The light that had been only a beam widened into a radiant flood, so holy, so unbearably pure, that the darkness recoiled like a living thing. The hand on me cracked, blistered, and crumbled into ash. The floor of hell itself trembled. Chains snapped in the distance, one by one, like metal admitting defeat. Shadows scattered, slinking back into cracks that even light refused to touch. And then the voice spoke again, closer, deeper, infinite. "You are not yet finished." But before the darkness shattered completely, something happened. I was suspended between realms, not in hell anymore, not in heaven yet. Caught in a balance where truth became unavoidable. Jesus did not stand before me in a physical shape, but his presence carried vision like wind carries scent. He showed me things not to punish me, but to awaken me. I saw faces. Human faces. People I knew. And people I did not know. All bound by the same truth. Hell was never created for them. But they had chosen a life that walked away from God until no path back remained. I saw bitterness turning to chains. Unforgiveness becomes a weight on the soul. Pride blinded people until they no longer recognized the light when it stood beside them. And I heard Jesus speak, not with lips, but with pure understanding. "This place is not my desire for anyone, but I will not violate the choices they insist on keeping." Then he showed me something else. Higher, brighter. A realm so full of warmth that it felt like life in its original form. I did not see heaven fully, only the edges. But that glimpse carried more peace than everything I had ever chased on earth. A river of living light. A horizon of colors that felt alive. A presence, gentle, inviting, where no fear existed. And I understood this. Hell is the absence of God. Heaven is the fullness of him. Hell was tormented because hope does not exist there. Heaven was life because God is life. Then the Lord pressed a truth into my spirit, firm but tender. The way a parent corrects a child before the child runs into danger. Tell them. Bitterness destroys. Pride blinds. Compromise kills slowly. Unforgiveness becomes the voice they hear in this place. I felt the weight of that last part. Unforgiveness. How long I had carried grudges like treasures. How long I had held onto wounds like proof of my righteousness. He showed me how unforgiveness had bent my path not suddenly, but steadily, pulling me toward darkness while I believed I was fine. And then he said something that changed everything. Show them my mercy. Warn them of this place. Tell them that every step matters. I felt his grief, not anger, not frustration. Grief because every soul in that darkness had once been loved deeply and had turned away slowly, one compromise at a time. Then the darkness shattered like glass. Light, pure, all-consuming, unfiltered by anything earthly, engulfed me. It filled every corner of what had been hell, flooding it with the reminder that God remained sovereign over all things. The force that lifted me felt like the breath of God himself, warm, powerful, undeniable. I shot upward as though pulled through a tunnel of radiance, rising toward the realm I had glimpsed only moments before. And as the flames and shadows below collapsed into silence, I heard one final whisper, gentle, insistent, echoing through eternity. Remember what you saw. And tell them I am still reaching for them. Then, light. Pure, consuming, world-changing light. The light around me intensified until it felt as if I were standing inside a heartbeat, one divine pulse after another, each one calling me upward. My entire being was suspended in a warmth that carried perfect peace. For a moment, I believed I was seconds away from stepping fully into heaven. But then, the light shifted. Not dimming, focusing. It narrowed into a stream, a path, a pull. Like a river current made of pure glory. I felt it wrap around my spirit, gentle but unbreakable. Something tugged at the center of me. Not like falling. Not like being taken. But like being summoned. The warmth became momentum. My soul rushed forward with breathtaking speed, drawn through a funnel of radiance that felt alive. Colors blurred past me, gold, white, blue, as if the very breath of God was carrying me back through realms I had crossed. Then I began to hear things. Faint. Far away. Muffled. A beeping. A voice shouting numbers. A woman crying. Hands slapping my cheeks. The electric snap of a defibrillator being charged. Each sound pulled me closer to a world I had left behind. The light around me thinned, stretched, and then, like breaking through the surface of deep water, I plunged downward. My spirit hit my body with a force that felt both painful and miraculous. A violent gasp tore through my chest. Air, cold and heavy, rushed into my lungs like I had been underwater for years. My back arched off the floor. My fingers curled. My heart hammered once, then again, then again. Voices rose around me, shocked, relieved, trembling. Pulses back. She is breathing. Stay with us, Sarah. Oh God, thank you, thank you. My eyes flew open, and the kitchen ceiling swam into view. The light, the warmth, the voice, all faded into a thin memory as the cold of earth settled over me again. But one truth remained, ringing in my spirit with the weight of eternity. I had seen what waits beyond death, and I had been sent back for a reason. I lay on the kitchen floor gasping, every breath scraping through my chest like I had torn myself back through the veil of death. Voices swarmed above me. Shapes moved. Hands steadied my shoulders. A paramedic leaned over me, eyes wide. Stay with me, Sarah. Stay with me. I could not answer. My mouth opened, but no sound came. My lungs were forced to remember how to be human again. Daniel knelt beside me, holding my hand with a grip that trembled. His tears fell onto the back of my fingers. Sarah, oh God. Sarah, please look at me, please. I turned my head. His face was a blur of fear, shock, and unfiltered love. Something inside me broke, and I let my tears fall. I had not cried like that in years. The paramedics lifted me onto a stretcher, voices rattling out things I did not understand. The rain outside had softened, tapping lightly against the ambulance windows as if heaven itself was breathing with me. As they drove, I stared at the ceiling lights passing overhead in rhythmic flashes. Every flash reminded me of the pit. Every hum of the engine reminded me of the voice that called my name. You are not yet finished. I repeated those words again and again in my mind. Not out of fear, but out of purpose. The hospital air was cold. Too bright. Too clinical. It felt strange to exist again in a place where monitors beeped and wheels squeaked on polished floors. I had crossed eternity. Now I listened to the whir of machines. Nurses rushed around me. Someone clipped monitors to my chest. Someone else shouted out my vitals. A doctor leaned close, shining a small light into my eyes. "Can you hear me, Sarah? You went into full cardiac arrest. You were gone for 15 minutes. Gone." Such a small word for what eternity had shown me. I closed my eyes, and for a moment I heard the screaming again, the chains, the burning echo of torment. I jerked slightly. A nurse steadied me. "You are safe," she whispered. But she could not know what safe meant in the light of what I had seen. Safe was not a hospital bed. Safe was not breath in my lungs. Safe was not survival. Safe was Jesus. Hours passed. Daniel sat beside me, holding my hand like it was fragile glass. His eyes searched mine with questions he did not know how to ask. Finally, he said softly, "You saw something, did you not?" My breath trembled. My lips quivered. I nodded once. He swallowed hard. "Was it bad?" I stared ahead, the image of the pit rising behind my eyelids, the faces, the shadows, the voices begging me not to come. Then the warmth, the light, the voice. His voice. "I saw hell," I whispered. And I saw him. Daniel covered his mouth, tears sliding down his wrist. He did not speak for a long time. He only held my hand tighter. The next day, Pastor Elaine entered the room. Her eyes filled instantly. She sat beside me without speaking, just letting the silence hold us both. After a moment, she said, "Tell me everything." And I did. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But through tears, pauses, shaky breaths, and memories I did not know how to translate into human language. I told her about the shadows, the flames, the unending echo of regret, the faces twisted in sorrow because they had believed they had more time. Then I told her about the light, the warmth, the presence that knew me before I had formed words. And finally, the message. Pastor Elaine. He said I am not finished. He said I must warn people. He said unforgiveness is a chain that drags us where he never wanted us to go. Her lips trembled. She placed her hand over mine. "That is a heavy calling, Sarah, but he must trust you deeply." I shook my head. "I do not deserve his trust." "No," she said, squeezing my hand. "But he gives it anyway." When I returned home, the house felt different. The kitchen floor still had faint marks from where I had fallen. The broken pieces of the mug were gone, but I could still feel the echo of my last heartbeat there. I knelt on that same spot. My chest tightened. Tears filled my eyes. I whispered a prayer that came from deeper than my lungs, a prayer that came from the center of my soul. "Lord, I am here. I am yours. Tell me what to do." A peace settled around me, soft, gentle, quiet. Not the overwhelming blaze I had seen in the realm of light, but a steady, guiding presence. I knew the first step. Forgiveness. I picked up my phone. My hand shook. I called Rachel, the friend who had betrayed me years ago. The phone rang once, twice. When she answered, her voice was cautious. "Sarah?" I breathed deeply. "I forgive you," I said, my voice breaking. "I have held something against you for so long, but I saw where bitterness leads. I cannot carry it anymore. I am done being chained." She began to cry, and something in me loosened, a knot, a weight, a decade of iron unraveling. I started sharing my testimony, first to Pastor Elaine's small evening group, then to the Sunday service, then to an online community I barely knew existed. Every time I spoke, people cried. People repented. People told me they had been carrying bitterness, pride, addictions, hidden sins. My story was not about fear. It was about mercy. Not about punishment, but about a love strong enough to pull me out of hell itself. And every time I remembered the darkness, the hand, the screams, I whispered a prayer for every soul who believed they had time. Before ending my testimony online, I always paused. I always let silence breathe. And then I shared the 3 invitations God pressed into my heart. Think of 3 people whose hearts have grown cold. 3 people who believe forgiveness is optional. 3 people who would change their eternity if they heard this story. Share it with them today. Tell me the country you are watching from. Let's pray for your country. And if you have not yet, subscribe and turn on notifications. Together, we can reach those who are walking dangerously close to the edge. Father, open our eyes. Break the chains we hold onto. Pull every wandering heart back from the places that were never meant for us. Let mercy lead us. Let forgiveness free us. And let every breath remind us that eternity is real and closer than we think. I always end quietly with a truth I cannot escape. Sometimes, I can still feel the heat, not to terrorize me, but to remind me. I must keep warning them.